it is. I'm going to survive 100 days in a mangrove swamp. It's Minecraft's newest biome, and a pretty challenging one to survive in. It's full of trees and water that makes it really hard to get around, and there's no villages, no useful structures other than maybe ruined portals on the surface. I spawned in a tree, and I started chopping it down. There's not much else I can do. My whole spawn area, you can see there's a lot of water nearby, but other than that, there's nothing but trees. It's a very desolate world. The only reliable source of food early on is hunting tropical fish. I didn't realize this, but tropical fish spawn all over in mangrove swamps. So that's what I did. The first night I saw a very typical mangrove swamp thing, a frog chasing after a slime. And that reminds me, I need to get a frog light during these 100 days. I started chopping down as many trees as I could. There's no way I can call this place home if it's filled with trees and sticks and roots and leaves. I couldn't find any surface caves, so I started building a ladder all the way down. At the bottom of the ladder, I ran into a mine shaft. I started lighting up and exploring this huge cave that touched the mine shaft, and then a zombie gave me a carrot. Day 2, I started a farm because tropical fish are useless, and then I explored the mine shaft and found my first diamonds. I started building a tower. I needed something that would stand out in the swamp so I could find my base if I ever got lost. I tried fishing, but got bored of that really quickly, and then I came up with a new strategy to clear the wilderness: flint and steel. Look at this fire go. Day 4, the fire was still burning, and it had cleared a lot of stuff out. I came in with an axe and got rid of the rest of the wood. And at the end of the day, I slept, because I do not want to deal with phantoms. Day 5 was a very confusing day for me. As you can see, I was struggling to make some very short jumps. And I was starting to doubt myself. Am I really this bad at parkour? It was so frustrating. I kept trying again and again, and I couldn't make the jump. And eventually I figured out it's because mud. You cannot sprint jump off of mud. You can sprint on it, it doesn't slow you down like soul sand, but when you try sprint jumping off of it, the sprint doesn't apply and you just jump as if you were walking. I spent a lot more time clearing out trees. It just takes forever and I have to do it a lot. But then I went caving and found a skeleton spawner. I never break these spawners because the XP farms are so great and you get unlimited arrows. It's annoying to fight the skeletons while trying to light it up, but totally worth it. And then this chest had a sharpness 4 book. Oh, I'm totally using that. That is amazing. I expanded the farm a little bit and did some more caving, typical Minecraft stuff. Day 8, there were a whole bunch of mobs guarding some diamonds, but I eventually got them. I found an amethyst geode, which is cool because those are some blocks that are hard to get. One really important thing is sugar cane does not grow in mangrove swamps, meaning it's really hard to get books which are necessary for enchantments. So here I fished up a book, and it's a useless book. I have no need for quick charge or fire protection, but that's good, because now I can make an enchanting table when I use a grindstone to get rid of that enchantment. I wasn't going to do that with a sharpness 4 book. I mined enough obsidian to do some enchanting, and then I found a nice vein of iron. At one point, I was running through a cave, I looked up, and there was a fossil. That's a thing you can find in swamps and mangrove swamps. Bone blocks are helpful to improve my farm. And then I looked up a few minutes later, and there was a fossil full of diamonds. I mined enough obsidian to build a portal, because I have to go to the nether eventually. I used the bones from the fossil to get a lot of food from the farm. That'll really help. And then I went to the nether, but I forgot that I wasn't wearing gold armor, and a piglin got really mad at me. I enchanted some armor and put the sharpness 4 book onto a diamond sword, and then I tried building a moss bridge across the water. It's really frustrating because moss has such a tiny hitbox on the side. Do not build bridges out of moss, it's a bad idea. Using some blocks from the nether, I turned my tower into a lighthouse. I wanted to make sure my nether portal was safe, so I built a little building around it. After spending the day trading with piglins, I ended up with a lot of good stuff. 10 ender pearls, 3 fire resistance potions, and a water bottle. That's important because I need potions of weakness to cure a zombie villager, and I don't have a better way to get bottles at the moment. Day 15, I got to use some spectral arrows on a creeper. That always feels good. And then I found a spider spawner, with a golden apple. That's another important component of curing a zombie villager. I have no other way to get apples right now. I started building a deep slate wall around my property. This is going to be a big project, but it'll be worth it to claim part of the wilderness for my own. There was a frog trapped underneath a lily pad, and I didn't notice it for a long time. I went past multiple times building a wall, cutting down trees, and eventually, after an entire day had passed, I saw it and I was able to rescue it. I went out in the rain and did some work on the wall, and then I started marking a path in the cave with mangrove planks. The cave goes a lot of different directions, so there's multiple roads. I also created a moss path through the cave. This turned out to be the longest one. This cave just kept going for days, which is good. I got lots of iron and gold. Eventually, the cave opened back up to the surface, 1,000 blocks away from spawn. I climbed out of the cave, then went up to the tallest mountain I could find, and looked around. I wanted to see, is there anything other than trees and water and swampiness? And the answer is no. There is nothing in this world. Day 22, here's my inventory. I made some golden carrots, that's good food. I have more than enough diamonds to make full armor, and I have a bunch of iron. Then I found the skeleton spawner, but sadly, no chests generated here. Here's a view of the full perimeter of the wall that I'm building. I enchanted a diamond pickaxe. It's really important because I have so many blocks I need to mine. I found another fortress, and I went straight through the lava room into the inside part, but there was no inside part. There's no nether wart. The fortress generated without it, and that's really bad. I need nether wart to brew potions to cure a zombie villager. I was really concerned at this point. This blaze started a fight with a skeleton, and I wanted to spectate. I wanted to see who would win, but the blaze moved down behind a wall where the skeleton couldn't see it, and eventually the skeleton aggroed onto me and the fight was over. I went to a blaze spawner to get blaze rods, and it was pretty normal. It was slow, there's only one spawning at a time, but I eventually got all the rods I need. As I was building the wall, I noticed a beehive really close to my base, so I decided to curve the wall around it. I need that beehive to get sugar to make the potion of weakness. Day 26, I started out clearing a bunch of trees within my property, and by the end of the day, here's what that corner looked like. I launched an Eye of Ender, and I was prepared to go search for the stronghold, but because it is so slow trying to traverse the overworld, I decided doing nether travel in that direction would be faster. I once again forgot to wear gold armor, and a piglin got really mad at me, and then I had to block off some lava that was flowing in order to go where I wanted to. It's really annoying how much the lava flows in the nether. The new nether portal I made put me way down in a cave, which is annoying, so I had to dig up. When I got to the surface, I was in a big lake, I guess you would call it, and I threw some more Eyes of Ender, and I thought I calculated pretty precisely based on the angles where I needed to dig down, but when I dug down, there is absolutely no stronghold there. It was the wrong spot. I found a ruined portal underwater. The gapple is super useful for curing a zombie villager. Everything else was not very interesting. Then I found another ruined portal. This one had a mending gold chestplate. I really like mending, so I kept that. The location of the stronghold is underneath a big ocean in this swamp. I dug down in a water ravine and coincidentally went straight into the library. Now I have an infinite source of books, which is great. I was very lucky that right outside of the library was the portal room. So I took out some silverfish, took out the spawner, and now I know the location of it. And then I found a plain apple in a chest. That's good, because I didn't have any plain apples. This mineshaft had 2 chests right next to each other, but nothing amazing there. I enchanted some diamond stuff with some higher level enchants, so I'm getting more geared out. This is good. I wanted to build a brick house, so I started mining clay. Thankfully, that's something that is plentiful in mangrove swamps. I put Feather Falling 4 onto a pair of diamond boots. For me, that's a must in the Ender Dragon fight. I don't trust myself with the water bucket. Here's when I added some more to the wall, and then this is the start of the brick part of the house. I went over to the beehive, and using a bottle of water from the piglins, I was able to collect some honey. This will enable me to craft sugar, which is needed to make the fermented spider eye, which is necessary for the potion of weakness. On day 34, I was clearing out the last corner that still had trees within my property. Suddenly, I began to question, do you actually need netherwort to make the potion of weakness? I had remembered there is one potion that doesn't rely on netherwort, and it turns out it is weakness. I can make it. So I made my splash potions of weakness, And I have the gapples, so now I am ready to start curing zombie villagers. I want to maximize the chance of a zombie villager spawning, so I decided to make a closed-in room where mobs could spawn even during the day. It wasn't working too well, I only saw a spider in there the first day. I mined nether quartz for XP, and then put unbreaking on a pickaxe because I was going through the durability quickly. I realized that dark room for mobs to spawn wasn't big enough, so I started making a big square in the corner of my property where mobs could spawn. Then a zombified piglin came through the portal and started swimming around. On day 40, there was a phantom coming after me, and I just sprinted straight back to my bed and went to sleep. I went through my portal into the cave, and there was a zombie villager right there! So, I cured it, and then I brought it back through the nether, used a boat, and eventually got it safely into the overworld at my base. Day 42, I went to the big ocean part of the swamp and mined a whole bunch more clay. I just need more bricks for my house. Now I need to get as many emeralds as possible. In case a wandering trader spawns or something, I need to be ready. So I turned this villager into a Fletcher, and just traded sticks. I have cut down so many trees that this worked really well. I was in the process of clearing out a huge area outside of my base just to create more empty blocks where mobs could spawn, because I want another zombie villager. All of a sudden it hit me. Mud is not a full block, that's what the wiki says. Therefore no mobs can spawn on mud. So I started quickly covering it up with mangrove planks, because that's the block I can get the most of. From now on, I would spend part of every day putting down more mangrove planks and clearing out more trees, just to maximize the chances of getting another zombie villager. And I would occasionally trade more sticks for emeralds. During the nighttime, I ran around fighting mobs, hoping that a zombie villager would spawn somewhere. On day 46, I made a lookout tower out of roots, because I hoped that would help me find more mobs that spawned. I didn't really end up using it much. What are the odds of this? 2 chicken jockeys spawned the same time. I had never seen a single one in this world. So I did the logical thing. I freed the chickens from their riders, and then I brought them over into a chicken pen and started breeding. Look at this spider following me as I went up the ladder. What a nerd. Later that night, there was another pair of baby zombies. Why is it always 2 at once? The next day, those 2 adult chickens despawned. Apparently, chicken jockey chickens don't stick around. It's a good thing I bred them right away, so I at least have 1 chicken to make eggs. Look at that phantom. Aren't they the worst? For no reason at all, here is a frog jumping in the rain in slow motion. The very first egg laid by that chicken spawned another chicken. So lucky. Then I started adding andesite around the brick. I can't make the whole house out of brick, it just takes too long. I went back to something I hadn't done in a long time, and started burning down part of the forest to make more room for mobs to spawn. But little did I know how this would be ominous foreshadowing. A zombie villager spawned! I just needed to cure it, and then I would be able to make a village and get whatever resources I wanted. This was so exciting, but it was about to be daytime, and the curing process takes several minutes, and it could still burn during that time. So I tried putting water down, I tried putting a roof over it, but no matter what I did, it kept running back into the sunlight until it burned up, just like I had burned that forest earlier today. At this point in time, I rage quit pretty badly. I was not happy, and I fumed away from the computer. To ensure this would never happen again, I placed a boat underneath the roof that I would trap any zombie villagers in. No burning here. What you are currently watching is me trying to shoot an arrow at a creeper, missing the creeper, and hitting an innocent frog. I didn't feel good about it. I had a lot of seeds from my farm. I used that to breed chickens, and here's a view of the full area that I've cleared out so far. I run around every night, chasing mobs, looking for zombie villagers. When phantoms attack me, I can't sleep anymore. I want there to be a full night to maximize the zombie villager chance, so I have to fight these phantoms. Day 54, the only clip I have recorded is mining redstone. I don't know why. A wandering trader spawned. I could get so many good things by trading, saplings, flowers, blocks. But phantoms were attacking me, and it distracted me and a creeper blew up the wandering trader. Here's what that looked like from my perspective. It was sad. At least I was able to capture the trader llamas. Better than nothing, I suppose. A thunderstorm caused a skeleton horse trap. That's fun. It's something interesting. But the tricky part is trying to keep the skeleton horses alive while taking out the skeletons. They tend to shoot the arrows pretty carelessly. I enchanted a pickaxe with Silk Touch. This will allow me to get some more ores, and maybe to potentially save them for when I have fortune. Every night I was still out there, hopelessly running around looking for a zombie villager. I went caving and used Silk Touch on every ore I saw. I started placing deep slate, redstone, and lapis ores as part of the floor in my house. I think they look really good. Here's a panoramic view of the whole area that I have cleared out for mobs to spawn. I want a frog light, so I need to get a frog in the nether, and that turns out to be hard to do. They don't like going into portals? I pulled the frog around the nether, but did not run into any magma cubes. Baby zombies always come in pairs. I managed to get fortune on a pickaxe. Time to get really wealthy. That turned out well. This is all the iron I got. Now take a look at a zombie slowly sliding down a waterfall in a cave. After a long day caving, I came up underneath some water not too far from my base. I was not paying attention and I let a creeper blow up one of my chests. It made a big mess everywhere. And then these slimes. So many little slimes in one place. This is where it starts to feel like maybe I have too many chickens. Look at this creativity, using a creeper to help clear some roots. I mined some diamonds with a fortune pickaxe. Now that it's 2/3 the way through the 100 days, here's a look at my inventory. I have tons of diamonds, and I've got some enchantments on my armor. The gold chestplate has mending, so I've been wearing that a lot. Day 68 is where things start to happen. I obtained some oak fences from the mine shaft, because I don't have a great way of getting oak otherwise. I finished the outline of my house. Like they always do, baby zombies came together in a pair of two. And then here's, in slow motion, another skeleton horse. As soon as I finished fighting the skeletons, another zombie villager came running out of the woods, and this time I made no mistake. I got this guy trapped in a boat underneath a roof with walls, so the curing process went safely. The next morning, the villager was cured, and I used a boat to transport it over to the other villager. A little bit of a hard time convincing this villager to actually go through the door, but eventually we got there. I turned this new villager into a librarian, and after just a few times breaking the lectern, the offer was mending for 1 emerald. Mending books for 1 emerald? This is the best trade in the world. Nothing could be better. So instantly I went and I traded for 12 mending books. Mending is my favorite. The next book the librarian offered was looting, and that's pretty good, so I took some of those. I threw carrots at the villagers and hoped that they would make more villagers, and then I mined some blue trees in the nether, and that's going to help me build a village. I spent all of day 71 building a small village, a bunch of little houses for the villagers to live in. The hard part is convincing the villagers to actually move to the new village. I took away their job blocks, I took away their beds, and I still had to use water to push them out of the big room. And then I had to manually push them myself to convince them to follow the hallway to their new home. I put a grindstone down so a villager became a weaponsmith, and I put down a stone cutter so I could also get a mason. To make the village nicer, I imported grass using silk touch, and then in a dungeon I found a saddle. That's my first one. I put stairs in my house, I'm still doing some building there, and then I used the saddle to bring back another skeleton horse. The village is doing so well that an iron golem spawned. This proves that it's a real village. My house is still ugly. Putting oak planks from the mine shaft on the floor will help a lot. I mined red trees in the nether, and soon enough I was able to afford a bell from the weaponsmith. Now it's really a village. The mason trades plain old stone for emeralds. Using silk touch, I can get a lot of that. I was digging a hole, and a villager fell into it and then refused to get out. This farmer was willing to trade carrots and wheat with me. That's a good way to get emeralds. And then I tried turning the skeleton spawner into a farm. I wanted to get XP more quickly, but I never ended up really using it. It's too slow. I'm getting close to finishing the wall. It's going to be so nice when it's done. I can get experience faster running around at night hunting mobs than I did in the skeleton spawner. Disappointing. Look at this frog going for a casual stroll along the top of the wall. The frog loves it. It's a great wall. Finishing up the oak floor is looking good. Look at my hand. I was able to trade for glass from this librarian. This is the only way I've gotten glass so far in this world. I started putting it on my roof. I've got a plan up there. On day 80, I decided it's time to fight the Ender Dragon. Here's my gear. Sharpness 5, a lot of protection, full mending everywhere. I was ready to go. And right as I headed out, there was a wandering trader. So I had to delay that because wandering traders can give me stuff I otherwise could not get. This trader gave me oak saplings, which is great, a new type of tree. Perfect. And also some flowers that I couldn't get otherwise, so I bought a whole bunch of those. I planted the oak sapling and then headed off to my journey to the end. I filled in the Eyes of Ender, and soon after that, I was digging up onto the main end island. I always feel safer with extra ender pearls, so I used the looting 3 on some endermen. The first 2 arrows I shot took out the first 2 crystals, but after that my accuracy got a little bit worse. The dragon fight went smoothly. It wasn't super interesting. The only crazy part was when the dragon threw me way up in the air. I got my water bucket out, and as I was coming down, the dragon flew underneath me, bumped me sideways, causing me to miss the water and take a whole bunch of fall damage. That is why I always use Feather Falling 4. After several minutes, I took the dragon out with an arrow shot while the dragon was attempting to land. It's hard to miss those ones. I took the portal to the outer end islands, and I was hoping to get, well, maybe an end city, but at the very least some of the purple plants. But no, I was on this tiny island. I would have needed a bridge really far. Nope, done with that. There's more glass on the roof of the house, and here is why I have so many chickens. I have a butcher who will trade for raw chicken. Using the looting sword, I can get a lot of it really fast. This wandering trader was confused and was holding a bucket of milk in the middle of the day. I have no other way of getting milk other than killing this wandering trader. I tried it. I did oak tree farming. It took a long time to get a tree that would drop 2 saplings. I probably should have bought more than one from the wandering trader before hitting him with a sharpness 5 sword. I made pots for the flowers from the wandering trader and put them in my house. It looks nice. I bought a map from a cartographer villager. Now I can go around mapping out my home, and maybe I'll find something other than swamps. The wall is too dark. Mobs could spawn on it. So I lit it up. Using the leftover lights, I lit up the bottom of the swamp. Now you can see through the water. It looks really nice. After upgrading, the mason was willing to trade me pink glazed terracotta. I have no other way to obtain this block, so I bought a whole bunch. On day 86, I officially finished the wall. Sometimes, when I'm bartering with piglins, I get really annoyed because the baby piglins steal the gold. Here's a trick. If you put them in a boat and then drop one block of gravel on the boat, it will get rid of the babies but not hurt the adults who can continue trading. Here's my map so far. You can see I have a nice rectangle of my property carved out, and then a whole bunch of red polluting the woods. I wanted to get a real good view of everything around me. I went to the hill north of my base and built a tower way above the trees. I watched a frog inside of a boat take out a slime, and that reminded me, I need to do some stuff with frogs. I'm spending 100 days in a mangrove swamp. I dragged 2 frogs through the nether. I need to get them to the end, because the end is a different temperature than a mangrove swamp, so I can get different frogs. The hard part is getting the frogs into the end portal. What I did is I built a huge tunnel going all the way down right to it. Getting the frogs down into that tunnel was a little bit harder. They are very stubborn and they like swimming up. This is a frog falling down the frog tunnel. In the end, I did the frog breeding. Hopefully it should make green frogs. While I was waiting for the eggs to hatch, I went around and poked at Endermen with this sharpness 5 sword, and I was generally able to kill them without them even hitting me once. After only a few minutes, tadpoles appeared, and they were just swimming around, so I came up and used a whole bunch of slime balls and turned them into green frogs. I sent one frog through the portal. It takes them back to the world spawn point, not to my bed. Thankfully, that's super close to my base and I was able to find the frog. My librarian was very generous with the glass trades and I was able to finish the roof. I covered the roof with water and then went around collecting tropical fish in buckets, so now I have an aquarium on my roof. Look at all these fish swimming around. Just keep swimming, fishies. The replay mod really glitched out here. I used the saddle from the dungeon to ride a strider across the lava to get to new places, but it's completely invisible. You can't see me or the strider. The strider brought me to a basalt delta, and I realized there's magma cubes here. I might actually be able to get this frog light. I made a new portal to get these magma cubes to the overworld, and unfortunately, once again it put me way underground. On day 94, I convinced the magma cubes to jump into the portal, and this became the worst day of the entire 100 days. I had to get them up the stairs. Just by making them follow me, it's so slow. They jump one at a time, sometimes they miss their jumps. If one of them gets too far ahead of the other one, the one stops jumping because it doesn't see me. Finally, I managed to do it. I got 2 frog lights. And that was good enough for me. I was very happy with that. I brought them home and put them on the front of my house. I had a science question. Are bees attracted to these mangrove sapling things? And the answer is yes, the bees like them very much. I gave the villagers a jukebox and played a music disc in it, but they didn't care. I decided to get the sniper duel advancement just for fun. I was catching fish with an enchanted rod when 2 phantoms attacked me. I hadn't seen them in so long, but they're still just as annoying as they've ever been. I put smite onto a diamond axe, and this allows me to one-hit zombified piglins, and if you kill them in one hit, the others don't get mad at you, so I went around doing that just because I could. This farmer villager was offering 2 different types of suspicious stew, and of course I have to try them both. I want to know what they are. The first was saturation, which is great, thank you for that. But the second was poison. That really hurts. I threw that bowl right back into his house. This is a clip of me doing some more mapping. A magma cube spawned near my home base in the nether. I decided to save that around to get a different color of frog light. It worked perfectly. I brought my green frog over and got 2 green frog lights. I did catch a couple fish the other day before the phantoms interrupted me. I was able to use that to tame a cat, which are now spawning because of the village. And that brings us to day 100. I made a little display wall showing some of the rarer blocks I got. These are things that I'm proud of. This is the final map that I created. It shows my base, a lot of water, and a lot of trees around it. Here's one final view of my base and all the area around it. This was a really long process, and it was fun. The challenge of surviving in the wilderness and making something where there previously was nothing. I really enjoyed being creative in this way. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to continue with more videos like this in the future.